Hello, everyone. I think a few of us have been with us for quite some time now. So good evening, one and all. This particular event has been curated for International Women's Day. 8th of March is celebrated across the world as International Women's Day, which we'll be addressing as IWD going forward. A slight history touch to this. I think there was a movement around 1900s, which was all started by the ladies across the globe, who raised for their work culture that they had. So for the first time, I think it was established in February in New York City, where 15,000 women started marching for their shorter hours, better pay, and voting rights in their city. Around the same time, a personality called Clara Zetkin laid down the idea on March 9th on 1911. So IWD was then honored for the first time in several countries, including Europe, takes care of it. Every year, this is arranged for addressing quite some issues like gender inequality, discrimination, reproductive rights, violence, abuse against women, and so on. We bring that about. Just to set the context, are we doing this as a gender biased only women? Certainly not. I think the panel members who are here and the audience who are here, a better one for all of us. So we're just trying to bring in and trying to establish the fact that it is important for us to take care of the personality issues as well, along with our work that we do. Panel discussion is curated to brainstorm of what, why, how we can achieve this in today's agenda. What better than this forum to do the same? We have curated a group of most enabled professionals on one forum to discuss the progressive aspects. This intends to do a non-formal, fun, interactive, candid discussion to know all of their experiences and stories to add on to our knowledge base. We want to bring out the varied backgrounds you all come from. Hence, please note, there is no judgments, there is no tags attached here to any questions asked or any opinions shared. This is an unscripted, candid discussion to celebrate the equity we all are in. Firstly, let me introduce myself. This is Deepti, an IT evangelist, started a technologist to testing, to project, to program management. Have been evolving with ATA in certain roles like a speaker, panel member, host, etc. For today, I am your host and a part of the panel as a moderator. So I'm very warmly greeting and welcoming you all. Thank you all the panel members for joining in here, and thank you for all the audience who have trusted us and for making this panel discussion a valued one.
Thank you, Deepti.
Thank you. So here is all our panel members. Let me kind of, introduce all of them one by one. Probably, Aditya, with that, can we kind of spotlight each one of them?
Yes, I'm in the process.
Yeah. This was a little about me, and thank you for accepting me as your moderator, and I'll try the best to get all your opinions together. Firstly, I would want to welcome Ritu. Ritu is an experienced seasoned leader. She works on the gaming mode every day, drives a strategic change and organizational transformation, a champion in executing complex global IT solution for digital disruption. Welcome, Ritu.
Thank you, Deepti. Thank you, everyone, for the warm welcome.
Moving on, I would want to welcome Savita Mudnul. She's a detail-oriented senior engineering manager, a profound leader for cloud client workspace business. Thank you, Savita, for joining us, and we are excited to hear your opinions on this today.
Thank you, Deepti. Thanks, everybody, and hello.
Hi,
Looking
Tilotama.
forward.
Glad. Hi, Tilotama, a professor by job with vast experience on industry and academics, a dynamic professional across software industry and teaching. Thank you, Tilotama, for being with us. We are looking for your, combined views about the current topic that we want to talk about. It's definitely an edge to have somebody from the learning industry.
Thank you. Thanks for the kind invitation. Good evening, one and all.
Thank you. Moving on, we have Pallavi, a multi-skilled professional, a research scholar on data mining. Yeah, hi, Pallavi. Pallavi is again a multifaceted, multi-skilled professional, a research scholar on data mining for bioinformatics, an entrepreneur and a trainer who has started her own institution, 5 Elements Learning. We are very happy to hear your idle thoughts, Pallavi.
Thank you, Deepti.
Moving next, I would like to welcome Soumya, a testing professional with deep interest in non-functional testing, especially accessibility testing. She has the edge of being a committee member for Eurostar Conference 2020 and many other programs. Thank you, Soumya, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. Looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So with diversity is when we get different perspectives, right? I think we are very good with women. So why not have a little diversity for the discussions that we are having? So here we welcome Aditya, CEO for Avante Now, a pioneer with ATA activities, a seasoning and a motivational leader. Welcome, Aditya. And
Thank
thanks
you so much.
to be
It's a privilege to be part of this wonderful panel. Indeed, a privilege to be with all women leaders around.
Thank you. You're welcome. And here we have Rituraj, again, a multifaceted person. For IT World, he is an agile coach. He's also a part of ATA. He has always been a part of ATA with organizing events. He's also published and authored a book, Mastering Advanced Scrum. We're very glad to have you here, Rituraj. Thanks for being a part of this panel.
Hey, thank you, Deepti. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this panel. Yeah, looking forward to this discussion. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so here we start for the audience. Please feel free to have your questions put on chat. We will keep looking at it and we will try to bring you also on board. Feel free to raise your hand so that we can see. And this is a close to 100-minute panel discussion. So we have enough time to hear you out and share our opinions on us. We intend to make it fun and interactive. So please help in achieving the same. So firstly, a few icebreaker questions for all of us.
May I suggest you to unshare your screen because then the video for all of us would be visible better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, some icebreaker questions for all of us. So when I went around asking different people or even in corporate, even my friends or family, what would Women's Day mean to all of you? There were different aspects, different opinions, we're all different people, right? So the same thing we just want to know with each one of you. What is Women's Day to you and what does it remind to each one of you? So even the drill goes the same. Anybody who is interested can raise your hand and pick questions. And when I'm interacting, if I see the interest, I'll also pass it on over to you. So we are friendly in sharing. So any takers for this? I think we can start with Ritu because that's how I see it on the screen.
Sure, Deepti. Thanks. So for me, when I talk to different people, it means different things. See, I come from a conventional, a traditional family background. So if I talk in my family in Rajasthan, I get different thoughts around Women's Day, around, the progress or the areas wherein we are struggling, the primary reasons, not only pay parity and others, but getting the basic rights, schooling, education, a lot of, in fact, taking decisions for yourself, your own self. Okay, all those things come into the picture. But when I talk to my colleagues, or in fact, I would say my daughter, then the picture is very different because here people see, I mean, we have everything. Why do we actually need to have a separate day? So I feel different people have got different perspectives, and that's where it somewhere we have progressed in our own thoughts to being so privileged that we don't realize those differences, or maybe we are bringing up our children in such a way that they don't see those differences that are there. But definitely these conversations are happening, and in fact when I talk to a lot of people, even the support system that is around us, we see there is a long way to go, and that is primarily the need to have these conversations again and again, so that in fact people like us who have become privileged now can actually help and support the society in bringing that share of equity. I strongly feel that that is much needed, because now when we are in a situation wherein we are good to give back to the society, we should actually have those conversations to make people aware of, what are the different, I would say very unconsciously people might be doing that. But if it is happening, we can actually bring it out, those conversations, and, talk about, and in fact, help people correct that, if I would say that is the right thing. But definitely we can point that out, because not everybody comes with the same sort of upbringing or culture or backgrounds. So different people come with different sort of things, and talent is not the only thing that gets you up. It is the kind of opportunities that you are getting, and that's where in fact we can play a role, wherein we are actually giving the right opportunities, or at least we are talking to bring out those right opportunities, and people can participate over there.
Cool. Thanks, Ritu. Yeah, I think it's an important thing for us also to reflect on what we have been. Can I ask Soumya to continue?
Thank you, Deepti. Thanks, everyone. To me, I'm always reminded of a line that I carry in my head, that diversity is world's biggest opportunity, and inclusion is actually our biggest challenge. So we should all be very happy we are not all the same. We are all very different. And embracing the difference can bring out magic in society. And that's something, that's a realization will happen, kind of with education awareness and a lot of those things. I actually campaign for accessibility as much as I campaign for equality for women and women in tech, and all of these topics are very close to my heart. So to me, diversity has multiple facets, and there are barriers, and there will always be attributes that kind of make somebody at a more disadvantaged position. And to me, I really like that we have kind of started to talk about the idea of equity or equality. If you look up the difference between equality and equity, equality is about providing everybody the same kind of opportunities. Equity is to acknowledge the circumstances that a person has, and to make opportunities happen that make them successful, as against providing the same position to everybody. I really like the sound of it. And funny, Ritu should mention about her daughter on Women's Day, actually. I was talking to my children that it's Women's Day today, and they didn't seem to have a lot of appreciation for why there's a day for that. And I kind of started to talk about, it was not long before women could vote, women couldn't do so many things, etc. And my 6-year-old daughter said, thank goodness I was not born in those times. So really the sense of equity is very natural. It starts very early. I haven't been brainwashing her about these things, but nobody wants to be treated unfairly. And that sense kind of starts to get diluted as they grow older. And because I live in the UK, and I have to say, I don't know what impression people have of women in West. And so I kind of go into the gender aspect of it a bit more, because I think it's much more kind of bigger scale. There are other inequalities, but the gender-based inequality is perhaps the bigger one in terms of the proportion and how systemic it is. So in the UK, there's a huge kind of perhaps impression that women are more empowered, etc. Funnily enough, it doesn't seem to be on the ground, because there's a constant messaging that goes, women should be more sacrificial and they should put others ahead of them, be kind, little girls t-shirts that say be kind, little boy t-shirts that say be wild. The messaging to both genders are very different. And believe it or not, women in the West are equally affected by it. And this is the thing for me, if we talk about equity and equality and all of these concepts, that there's both sides to it. There's one side which needs to, yes, brave up and kind of really own it and kind of not be guilty for doing that. And the other privileged side needs to make that very uncomfortable shift and kind of be prepared to give up some of that very, very privileged position where they're unquestioned. So yeah, Women's Day to me, it's a great opportunity to talk about these things that often go undiscussed. They're under the surface. It's just happened. It's gone into our everyday lives. We stop questioning it. Women's Day, yes, the title says women, but to me it brings out so many such conversations which talk about why are some people less advantaged than the others. So hopefully these initiatives will help bring those conversations happen more regularly. It shouldn't be limited to one day.
Thanks,
everything.
Soumya. I think you laid down most of the equity basement for me, which will be our next question. But yeah, continuing to know what Women's Day means to the rest of them. Rituraj, if you want, do you want to break the women's sector here and come in? What does Women's Day mean to you?
Sure, Dipti. So as we all know, International Women's Day is celebrated annually on March 8th to acknowledge the social, economical, cultural, political achievements of women and to raise the awareness of gender inequality and about women's rights issues. So it is a day to celebrate the progress that has been made towards gender equality and to highlight the wonderful work which is being done by all the Wonder Women around us. But the work which still needs to be done to achieve the full gender parity, okay? And International Women's Day is a reminder of the important role that women play in our society and the contributions they have made to all the aspects of the life. And despite of facing various challenges and barriers, it is also a day to recognize the need for continued advocacy and activism, maybe, to ensure that women's rights are protected and advanced. So to me, I think it is a day to celebrate women's achievements, promote gender equality, gender equity, and raise awareness about the ongoing fight for women's rights, because I still believe that there are few geographical areas all over the globe where things are not up to the mark. When it comes to me personally, I have my biggest role model in my life, who is my mother. The way I think Ritu told, or even I can correlate to what we just heard from Soumya, that back in the 70s or 80s, women were not that much exposed to the field of education or the field of empowerment and to do something differently and breaking the stereotypes kind of a thing. But when it comes to me, I have seen my mother, who was the first one from her generation and within her own family, that is my maternal family, who came out of her own bubble, and then she did her education. She was a teacher, she was a professor, she served one of the biggest academic institutions in a small town, which is Kolhapur back in India. And it is a small town as compared to big metropolitan cities such as Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, or Delhi. But then I think she served there for almost 30-40 years, and then she got retired as a vice principal back in 2010. And then she's like one of the live examples right from my childhood. So I can see her as a role model. And then the way I think she showed her fighting spirit to swim against the flow of water and then do things wonderfully for her family. So I think for me, I think the way I have seen her and the way I have seen women coming into various fields where they can prove their abilities, capabilities, skills, knowledge, experience, and then make a big difference for their own family, for the society. I think it gives you tremendous pleasure to see so many women leaders around you. Fortunately, I think the person who hired me in my current job, it was she. The person to whom I'm reporting right now, again, it is she. So I feel blessed to see such women leaders around me, whether they are serving in the capacity of an individual contributor or as a manager or as a leader. I think in today's discussion also, we have so many women leaders who are contributing to the best of their efforts and to the best of their knowledge. And that gives us a spirit to set those examples, set those benchmarks. And then that really helps us to look at these things all together from a different perspective, that these are the key players. Okay, these are the key examples who are setting those benchmarks and then giving that kind of empowerment when it comes to the full gender parity. Okay, it's a big topic to research upon. One can do a PhD into the topic of full gender parity, but that's what I think International Women's Day means to me. I think it is not a day to celebrate. We can celebrate it every day, but yeah, that's what I can summarize and then put in my initial words.
Yeah, thanks, Rituraj. I think celebrating achievement every day might just dilute the intention of it. So what not on Women's Day to celebrate the achievements? And I think on the same lines is where even Ajay is saying, it's a day to celebrate strength of women and remind everyone to respect and get rid of biases. Thank you. And thank you also for personalizing it for your family and your mother. I think all of us have that family background where we can relate to see what strength is and what power is. Moving on with the same, if I can ask Tilottama, what is Women's Day to you and how do you would want to promote or celebrate it?
Hello, everyone. I was thinking like most of the points have been discussed, but I'm thinking from one point. First of all, International Women's Day. So if I break it as Rituji, Soumyaji was saying, everyone is having their own challenges. So that's why it is international. We know there are some countries, it's still like how we are able to be vocal about our advancements. Many of the geographical locations are still not able to. So that's why it is international. So if we consider like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, then there are places in these Vasudhaiva that it still means a lot. So that's why that international word is very important. Till we achieve that Women's Day celebration across all the latitude and longitude, then I think we have achieved something. And then there are another perception which I am thinking, there are generations. The generation in which I am, I had from childhood, most of us who are in the late 40s or the 50s, we have seen our parents, grandparents, and now we planned our career, our life, and now comes the next gen. As Ritu ji was saying, her kids, for her, what is Women's Day? Why you are celebrating, correct? Now, my point here is, okay, so is it that for next gen, it doesn't mean anything? From my perception, like grandmother's, grandparents' side, education, that was a big question. Then our generation, education was, everyone is educated. Next gen, not even 1% in our country will be uneducated, considering we have reached all the rural places as well. Maybe a very less percentage will be like uneducated. Now that means the education part has also has been tackled in many of the places. Then what is the Women's Day? For me, Women's Day is empowerment. Education is one thing, but are we empowered being educated? And I have seen uneducated women being empowered as compared to educated women being not empowered. And that what hurts me. That what hurts me. Like, so that means, so, okay, what would you do with the empowerment? What would you do with the empowerment? What does that English word mean? When as a child from any generation, am I supposed to dream, be passionate about my vision? All the institutes have vision, mission, everything. why can't we in a family, the girls, or we won't say gender bias, any one of us be inclusive? Can we not have a vision mission? And how for some of the gender, it suddenly switches off when you are a teen, when you cross 22, when you cross 30. So what about my vision? What about my mission? Now what will happen? So that question mark is subtle, but it varies from family to family, community to community, and still I would say we are far behind, and we should celebrate International Women's Day. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for bringing this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And on the same lines as Harpreet saying, I think on urban, rural, there is a lot of developments that is happening. And this is one medium where we can push it across. Moving to Savita. Savita, what is Women's Day for you and how do you look at promoting it?
Okay, thanks, Deepti. See, I was hearing to Ritu, Soumya, even Ruturaj, and Ma'am Trilottama, Madam. So yes, all of them have been telling different aspects to the Women's Day. Coming to me, I'm probably, I would say I'm in the center of the generation where my parents or my in-laws have been in the generation where they were having the education in a limited environment. I had very good education. My kids have no dearth on education. Okay, and when it comes to the equality, when it came to my mother, like how Ritu was saying, right? Rituraj was saying, yes, they have a challenges they had. I mean, very simple. My mom wanted to be a doctor, but when my grandfather was asked to pay a fees of 5,000 rupees, that's then, okay? I mean, everyone in the house shot it down saying, anyway, she's going to get married. Why do you want to make her a doctor? And that's where she ended up being a graduate. Of course, even now, if you look at my mom, how capable and enabled she is, how independent she is, I mean, she's an inspiration to me all through my life. Same thing with my mother-in-law, though she's just a 10th graduate. If I go back and ask her on any subject in the world, she can talk about it very nicely. Probably my general knowledge, my knowledge about a lot of things is way below any mark when I compare it with my mother-in-law. So it's about, for me, it's not about just education, but it's about what Madam Trilottama said. It's about empowering, enabling the women. A lot of women in this current generation or in the current world have the education, but they're not being empowered or enabled. I mean, we have a lot of women who are educated, and are they really being in the forefront in terms of taking care of the finances in their house, or be it in terms of taking care of the family? No, it's still run by many of the men in the house. That's where I'm looking at where the equality is also. I mean, we have been talking about equality all these years, and we have moved to the next topic of equity, but we are still lagging on equality. So we are year on year, we are bringing in different topics, but we are let going the old ones. No, that's not what I'm looking at. For me, irrespective of what the topic or the criteria is for this year, the entire, and in totality, how women are coming up is what I'm looking at. And I expect that I really want to look at a time where the Women's Day is not celebrated at all, and all are considered equal, and all these equality, equity, enablement, all this goes away, and we are all the same. I really wish that comes very soon. And yeah, so this is what I had, Deepti, because everyone has covered so much about it. So I had very little to take.
Yeah, absolutely, Savita. I think all of us want to kind of celebrate everyone's day, than a separate men's day and women's day. And, we still have things to achieve out of it. But at the same time, like the other people said, there is a problem that we still have. So we'll have to strive and try getting it clarified. And thanks for the empowerment side for it. Moving to Pallavi, Pallavi, your take on that, and how was Women's Day for you and what have you been doing?
Hi, Deepti. Hi, everyone. Glad to be part of this esteemed panel. And this is my first ever panel discussion, so I'm little nervous. And if I say something which is not very diplomatic, please pardon me.
That's a plus for us, Pallavi. Like I said, it's candid and it's ironed on. So that is what we want. So
okay, for me, I have a lot of mixed thoughts about Women's Day. Starting with it, I understand the importance of it, and I understand that even like you mentioned that it started in 1908. We are in 2023. We should accept the fact that we still have a country in this world, Afghanistan, where women are not even allowed to go to schools, to colleges, to get their education. This is something we should understand and accept. So I don't see it the point of it being ending anytime soon, or the reason for which it was started to be ending anytime soon. Um, I don't like on Women's Day when we come out with list of women folks, the top 100 women marked in testing. I don't like that list. I want to see that list on Men's Day too, which is 19th November, because I think that would not be enough as well. You know, when you're talking and putting them on a pedestal, that top 100 women in testing, I would also want to see the top 100 men in testing. I want to see that list. So since we are talking about equity and equality, as Soumya put forward the definition well forward, that we have to understand that everybody is coming from different backgrounds. As women, we definitely come from different backgrounds for various reasons, for our upbringing, for the kind of society we live in, from the country we live in, from how society treats us, and how we also treat ourselves. That is also we should all understand. So I believe that it's an important day where important and well-meaning things should be discussed, pay parity being one of them, equity, equality for education for one and all, Vasudhaiva Kutum should be done for, and all these issues should be propagated. We should not reduce such important days to list. And if there is a list, let there be list for Men's Day too. I would like to see that. That's all I would like to say.
Awesome, Pallavi. I think there is one more checklist for us to achieve for the next Men's Day, to come up or to propagate something on that. Moving with that to Aditya. Yes, sir. Any thoughts on Women's Day, and how would you want to promote, and how does it work within your family, and much more?
Sure. First of all, Pallavi, it may not be my first panel discussion, but I'm still nervous. More to that, I would say that to be part of this wonderful women leaders around and to give my thoughts, I'm privileged. First of all, I'm ruled by women. So in my home, I'm only single male. I've got my wife and 3 daughters. In my office as well, I've started a new small office in my hometown. I was in Mumbai earlier, I moved to Jodhpur. Out of 6 employees, we are only 2 male and 4 are female. And if I look at my company as well, I personally feel, first of all, women are better than men. So no equality there. This is my personal feelings. I just want to make sure that all of you know why I would like to hire more women in my team. They're more sincere, they're more disciplined, they will do better work. And I'm sure that they are more inclined towards empathy. They would basically be more honest to their work. So these are something that I have noticed all through my life. And I would recommend that if anybody of you gets a chance to hire women, hire more women, guys. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, get more women in your team. You'll be very, very satisfied. If you even look at our conferences, I really want more women speakers to come in. But then there is inequality. So forget about Afghanistan. If I look at my maid, she sends her son to school, not daughter. Now, I really wish that to be changed. I want that she can be sent to school. Maybe we can contribute. So that is where equity comes into play, Soumya. How can we make sure that our maids and people around us take it seriously? There's another point that I'm really, I don't understand why it is. Like, why I would want that when I die, my daughter lights my fire. Now, it happened when my dad and my mother passed away, and my daughters were around. I took them to the fire. A lot of people said, no, daughters are not allowed. Women are not allowed. I don't like all these things. There are certain religious connotations. There are certain other things which I want to change. I want to make sure that not only about equality, rights should be there, part of the economy, part of the corporate functions, but social responsibility. I think we all have a bigger responsibility to play. We all have to make sure that we be vocal about that. And that is what means to me as a Women's Day. How do we make sure? By the way, 50% of the strength is women. If we talk about 50% women and 50% men. And if you look at how things are in the corporate leadership, we don't have that many leaders. I'm surprised. Why is it not there? Why can't we have more women leaders on the top? We do have a president who is women in our country. But if you look at the corporate world, across the world, it's not about India. If you talk about across the globe, you will see women leaders in a minority. And that minority is not about 45, 55. If I were to do the match, it is 10% to basically 90%. And that is huge. And that is what I think we need to change. All women leaders, all men around us. And that is what I really want to bring to the fore here, that how can we bridge that gap? There's a huge inequality. Forget about Afghanistan, forget about India. Corporate worlds are, I see that happening around me. And I want that through this forum, we be vocal about it. We share our opinion, and we want to make sure that we give them more power, make them empowered. Tilotma ma'am said that right. And at least our daughters and the daughters around us, we want to empower them fully. At least that much contribution I want to make to the society.
Great, Aditya. Yeah, I think I'm very happy for the fact that this forum is not only professionally diverse, it's also geographically diverse. I think there are a lot of people who are coming from different places where their practices are very different. And I think we are very ingrained with what we have been taught of, like, you're capable to do this and not that. You're capable to, you're allowed to do this and not that. Maybe in spiritual way, physical way, strength wise, and even on this religious things that Aditya kind of touched upon. With this, moving to what we want to discuss, equality versus equity. Now, have we achieved equality? We had a mixed opinion. Are we achieving equity is what we want to look at. Let's take a frame from like a child, a girl child or a boy child. It's a child. It's not a gender biased. It's a child. A child from a school to being a professional degree, everything is fine. I think we look at equal number of people, all of them are studying. Yes, in certain latitudes and in certain places, rural versus urban, we still have a lot of development to bring in over there. But luckily, to some extent, at least we see some kind of improvements there, that children are being facilitated. There are a lot of policies and programs that are being brought to educate and at least bring them over there. Now, after school, if you look at a degree college, I think girls are pioneering. Every time I see results, girls are scoring higher, but maybe there is still an equality. Not sure about the consensus reports, but we still have a fair number of girls is equal to boys. From there, if you look at the workplace ratios for the day to day, I think there are a good number of girls entering into different workplaces. I'm not only talking about corporates or engineering. I'm talking across maybe banks, maybe schools, maybe different streams of acting, non-IT, all of these, even entrepreneurship for that matter. I think girls are doing their part. But cut there and you go to the leadership mode over there. Maybe a school to a board meeting to take a decision, a school to an entrepreneur meeting to look at the highest scheme. There is a number gap. There is a differentiated, diverse, obvious number gap. Now, where are we missing this? And on this, we want to touch workplace equality versus equity. To start with, to know more from the learning background, because I started from a student to a professional, can we have Tilotama start with, where is it being lacked due to education?
One line question, can you tell me? I was into.
Yeah, ma'am, morely is we are trying to achieve equality from a young age to an older age. But today, when we look at leadership or like decision making, there is a very high gap when it comes to women and men. We see more men than women. So where is this disconnect? Is education going in the right background?
Okay. Okay, so let me first tell as an individual strength and weakness, correct? Both will be there. We are all fighting for all the women, but many women, they don't even recognize their strength. So first and foremost is we should recognize our.
I think we lost her. Tilotma?
Yeah.
Obviously, our strength is going to be like, we'll be strengthening ourselves with more and more education, meeting all the professionals, or in the school colleges, the ecosystem strengthens you, correct? But I'm trying to tell you, because you are saying it's going, the graph is coming down. But if I consider the strength of the individual, whether girl or a boy, it is strengthening with education, with knowledge, with wisdom from the family, from the ecosystem of the education institute, university, because as we rightly told, at least we all are graduates. Now, what happens? There are weaknesses. Again, coming to individual weakness, whether it's a girl or a boy. Weakness means I myself am not very confident. I have some fear psychosis. Like everyone is having that, correct? Everyone will have it as an individual. Some very good student will overcome that in the teenage itself. Some they don't overcome at all. So first of all, we need to groom ourselves. We have to have mentors in the family itself, so that we are all very stable with knowing our strengths, and we have to overcome our weakness. Now coming to the your threats. What are the threats? The threats are the stereotypes, which is actually hindering and which is actually adding fuel to your weakness. So those stereotypes are nothing but gender biased stereotypes in our society. So when you're trying to overcome your weakness, someone says, no, 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 why, as one of our esteemed speakers, why she should go for medical? Anyway, she is going to get married. So that strength was there. That weakness of someone could have been mentored, but it added the fuel by having those threats. Okay. So these threats are given by the ecosystem depending on the geographical location. Now coming to overcoming those threats, whether that gender, male or female, is bold enough to overcome alone, or he or she is having a family backup. If the family is backing up, then we have seen so many Olympic medalists who are girls from remote villages, how they got. That means another word is opportunities. We have to grab those opportunities which are given for equity, for inclusiveness, for divergence by national policies and international policies. How many of us are aware that there are so many national and international policies for equity? We are not aware. So sometimes when we are not aware, we are just cribbing. We don't have a solution. So first and foremost is knowing one's strength and weakness. Second is, we know there will be threats because human life is full of challenges. There will be threats, but that opportunity word, many of us don't know. From a personal experience, I'll tell you, I completed my PhD at the age of 42 and I thought, oh my God, I'll be taken by all the national institutes and I'll be serving the national institutes as a professor. And I came to know that according to the national policy, the assistant professor, the age bar is 35, that's it. But I got, after maternity two kids, I took a break. I was a full-time research scholar for 5.5 years at Central University of Hyderabad. And then I come out when I'm ready, equipped, well equipped with my degree, highest degree. I come to know I am not even fit to apply to all the national institutes. My guide told me, see, be kind to yourself. You have achieved so much at this age. I told, it's okay, but what I will do with the degree? I was thinking so many dreams. I had so many dreams. Then he told, did you check your national policy? You are an Indian. Did you look into all the national policies? That day, from that day onwards, I tell my students, my youngsters, whomsoever come across, in whichsoever country you are, you please check the national policies. What are the opportunities? Plan your family, plan your career like that. I thought I actually was thinking the world is full of equity. No, that was a mistake from my side. So that's what my message is. First, know all the opportunities as well. Then all these three things will, like Kainat, will come together and make you successful. Thank you.
True. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, I think she's stressing more about, being self-aware of what you really want to do and then probably planning for there. so that you get lesser hurdles and you're not disappointed with the ecosystem that you are in. Savita, if you would want to add, how is workplace equality or equity working for you? Because I think you manage a lot of people. Soumya, I'll come back to you. Sorry, I missed your raising hand.
So thanks, Deepti. Okay, Trilota ma'am, I agree with you on most of the aspects. Education-wise, Deepti or the panelists or everybody here, we're all getting the same education, be it the girl child or the male child. There's no differentiation, at least in the current environment where, okay, I'm going to give more education to the boys and lesser to the girls. No. But as ma'am said, yes, the background of what a girl is coming from, where the girl is coming from, is how she is going to take her future in. For example, if a girl is needed or after her marriage, right? If there is a need for her to take a break in her life, or be it from any reason, she is the first one who takes that break. It's not the husband who takes the break. It's the wife who takes the break. Okay. And for after maternity, when you take a break of 6 months or probably 9 months, many of us, of course, 6 is the government allowed timeline now, but many of them extended to 9 months. But when you come back after 9 months, it's the expectation is that the girl or the wife or the mother is the one who's going to take care of the kid and take care of the family. That's not the expectation from the male or the father. So obviously there are opportunities available, but the expectation from a female or from a mother is very different from what is expected from the father or the male in the corporate society where I'm coming from. And as soon as they see that a girl gets married, this is the tendency that happens in the office. Okay, now let's wait for her to give her a good promotion. Anyway, she's going to go and take a maternity leave soon. Let's give some break. And once they get to know that she is conceived, come on, we'll take care of her after 2 years. This is the mentality that is there even today out in the corporate world. I'm not talking about my current organization. This is from the 27 years of experience that I am coming from. Because I have 2 kids. During the 2 kids time, though I had very good support from my family, yes, office wise, you are the expectation, the support that you get at the corporate level is going to be very different. And that has to change. So it's not about, as you know, the equity is what we're talking about, giving the same opportunities for different people. That is really missing in the current environment.
True that, Savita. I think I can resonate with that. I think most of us don't really talk about it because we know this is the way it works. But then most of us who are here have been, experienced this for that matter. I think that's what we want to know, that equality acknowledges the fact of different people need different resources at different time. And when they need, it's not in the beginning or it's not in the end or when the organization chooses to give it, but actually when they need. Yes, Soumya, I'm coming to you because you raised your hand.
Thank you. Thanks, Deepti. And yeah, absolutely, I think could relate to so many points other panelists mentioned. Now, I'll again go back to my earlier, part when I mentioned in the introduction about how the social messaging kind of can have this impact. There's actually quite a bit of study around how girl children get influenced, or children in general get influenced, and how it starts very early. In the UK, there's a movement called Let Toys Be Toys, because if you walk into a toy store, you'll see the messaging for girls is largely that they play with home-based things. The toys are largely for, kind of pink, and they're very, very pretty. And the large kind of messaging is be kind, be accommodative, some attributes that women are never seen to be good with, being ambitious. It's all not, it doesn't sit with women, as it were. Starts so subtly and so early, and there's such a big commercial gain to playing into that stereotype that manufacturers will never stop doing that. For example, there's statistic to say that girl toys, even if they're electronic, they have fewer features and cost more, and they're pink, by the way, whereas boy toys will have much more challenges. It's almost as if a boy is capable of doing more. And this, to me, is where I quite like the question you've raised, Deepti, in that you see this fantastic progression all through academics. Women are acing it, like girls are really, really acing it. That's because there's a framework that's looking after them. Then you go into the wild. When you go into the professional world, what comes to the fore is your risk-taking ability. And all along, the girls have been subtly told that's not your thing. Taking risks is your thing, while boys are continually told space is yours. The themes for t-shirts are space and jungle and kind of, it's all things to do with the risk-taking abilities, right? For women, it's a lot more kind of understated. They are kind of asked to kind of keep themselves grounded, and somehow be very contained, very mellow, fit others in, put others ahead of you. Always they see themselves in that role of being a supporter of somebody who is more at the forefront. So when you are in the wild, and this is how I feel when I consider myself I look at an opportunity and go, wow, that looks great. Do I have it in me? I kind of go so much self-doubt and so much kind of, gosh, is this something I can really deliver? And I genuinely believe a lot of that has happened due to a collective range of influences. And I feel, and this is no kind of, this is perhaps a bit of a critiquing of the kind of Indian upbringing system as well, that somehow particularly when you get into an arrangement of marriage, or till then you're asked to be very competitive with your education. Everything is equal. You go into a system of marriage, you're told, listen to your in-laws, listen to your husband, play along, adjust, accommodate. Somehow in a relationship context, the adjustment is always from the women. It's almost men never have to accommodate and adjust. So there's such confusing messaging for women. By the time they reach that point of making independent decisions, where there's no framework like a school or a college or a university guarding you, looking out for you, when you're out on your own, free fall, you just don't have the confidence to do something bigger. And somehow ambition seems like the wrong decision for you that you look back and regret. So to me, this is something that a lot of societies have reflected and thought, women are the first to get hit in the face of a crisis. They are the first to give up the jobs. When the pandemic happened, actually in the UK, there was a big drop in women workforce because they were the primary caretakers. And it's again a UK context. When big football matches happen and somebody loses, there's an increased domestic violence. So the kind of venting out of any situation, somehow women become that layer who take the brunt of the society, as it were, and they seem to be like prepared to be in that position. You're always asked to be a default, be prepared for crisis. And that's almost glorified, that women are great at crisis management, to the point that no one else has to do that. It's always like, yeah, you be ready. Something hits us, you are the one to take hit first, in very quote unquote manner. So I feel there's a collective thing about, I felt this myself, academic. Wow, I felt really confident. I was great till I was in uni. I come outside, I can't beat the confidence that men carry, and nothing against talent. I think there are people with a lot of merit. I just can't beat the confidence. It's just not there.
Yeah, I think women are basically first footfall, because anything that you ask who wants to do, we raise our hands first. Yes, yeah, a lot of hands raised. I'm very happy for the thoughts that are flowing in. But yeah, I think, sir, can I come back to you after Pallavi, because she has her hands raised for a very long time. Yes, Pallavi.
Thank you, Deepti. Very valid point by Miss Savita and Soumya. By the way, coming down to the gender-based clothing, I tend to buy boy clothes for my daughter because they have less of hearts and flowers. This is my personal anecdote. I and my husband were working on the same company. I met him there. So I have a love marriage. And then eventually when I was expecting, and when I had a maternity leave for 3 months, my husband had for 3 days. So one thing I would like to put forward on Women's Day is I hope that the Indian organizations, if we are just pointing out to them, or the international organizations, they have parental leaves and they give enough paternity breaks as well, so that the expectation that the woman is the primary child caregiver can also be shared, because the men should also be given the opportunity, equal opportunity, if not equity, at least equal opportunity to be there and be equally enlightened about how to be a parent in those days. Because if you give a man a 3-day leave and a woman a 3 months leave, and you expect that the stereotype will be removed and the burden of being the primary caregiver will be taken away from women, that is not going to happen. So countries where there are parental leaves, or there is enough paternity leaves, I think that's a great move, and companies should at least start adapting to that. On the other front, I would just like to say that the stereotype which we, especially in Indian culture where we come from, where a girl has to move from her family to the boy's family, is very strongly inbuilt. Even if we come from privileged backgrounds, even from that perspective as well, this stereotype is very strongly built, from the point that we even have a religious custom called Kanyadan. We don't have a boys dan. I mean, मुझे बॉय का हिंदी वर्ड बोलना नहीं आ रहा है, लड़का दान नहीं होता है, we say कन्यादान. So
Vadudan.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so we don't have that.
Vardhan.
Yeah, Vardhan, sorry.
We don't have that. And so for whatever reasons these religious customs are built, and with all due respect to every custom and religion, I just want to say that doing it is one thing, but imbibing it and practicing it and taking it down the line with, as the current world is changing, it is on us. It is on us all, for people who are in the panel, for those who are in the audience, to understand that your mother, your wife, your daughter also has a family, and every festival and every occasion which you want to celebrate with your parents, she would also want to celebrate with her parents. So from all that perspective, the men should also be, they should also take up the pedestal that, yes, we also have to support her and be with her, whether it is a time of festivals, whether it is time of taking responsibilities. And by the corporate world, if you would give men access the way you are trying to give women access to also be balance the responsibilities, they would definitely come for it. They will definitely go for it, but you have to give them the opportunity to do that in the first place. Otherwise we are just talking about it. We have to start doing about it.
So
That's what
true.
I'd like to say.
True, Pallavi. I think we are taken over with a lot of, sheep herd that go with the practice and not become a change agents. Yes, Aditya, you wanted to add to some point at that point.
Yeah. So it was basically on the toy thing. And I've seen, like, if suppose boys start playing with, like, for example, that cooking thing, a lot of women actually say, no, it is not meant for you. Now, the question is to all the women, I think you need to also make sure that your boys basically also cook. I saw Rituraj saying he learned how to now. On the contrary, my mother taught me when I was in 5th standard, and I really am proud of what I'm doing now. So I think it's not about one-sided stereotype. It's not about only men. It's not only about the toy making industry. It's all about the parents themselves as well. If you look at the way, and if suppose your children, like whether they're boy or girls, and if they start playing with something which is probably designed, and what Soumya made is absolutely right, and then suddenly, no, it's not meant for you. I have seen so many parents talk to their girls like that, or to boys like that. I think that mindset has to completely change. Let them enjoy what they want to do, and in fact they should be put forward to the situation. Every boy should be actually be part of the system where they learn how to cook. That's for and foremost rule that we should define for everybody who is educated and who is in the corporate world. At least we can define that rule. I would like that to happen.
I think that's a lack of we treating children as children and professionals as professionals, where this whole boy and girl and men and women come. Yeah. Moving to Ritu, I think Ritu wanted to add a point there.
I think Aditya and Soumya has put up it very powerfully, and I wanted to add it. That said, the societal messaging that has been done, even for males or females, that also hinders at times. When because the way we are growing up and you get settled, in our personal lives and all, the family needs time. And always it has been brought up in such a way that the female has to sacrifice and work it out. In fact, if guys come forward and they want to do that, the female is fantastic. She wants to work it out, and the guy is very amazingly setting up the family and doing it. Then also the societal pressure comes a lot to, that this is something that you're going against the preconceived, I would say, quote unquote, things not going well. So that thing also, the unconsciously people, in fact, it's not about the outside world. The family also is not able to accept it well. And the second thing that I have observed is, women are at times, because they have been fighting these battles since very start, after getting in 30s 40s, or when they are climbing up the ladder, because it gets more challenging at times, because your priorities also changes in life and everything else is working well. Lot of time they just give up, they don't aspire to fight it, because probably either they are not getting that support, or in fact, Soumya said it very right, they don't feel confident at times. I have seen it myself that if I go to a meeting, I mean, a lot of time, if there is a guy colleague, whether they are confident or not, they can put their ideas forward very straight. They don't even have to say the statement, I want to share my thoughts, it might not be relevant. Most of the meetings, women talking about it, they are either not very comfortable sharing their ideas, or if that is an out of the way idea, they are not at all confident to put it forward or articulate it, or go forward in the group. So the baggage has actually come a long way, and after some point, looking at the priorities of life, people feel, okay, let's get settled with this, and they give up. I have seen a lot of my colleagues, they are happy the way, they don't actually want to get into a lot of struggle or challenges, or if I actually quote unquote politics, the office politics, they don't want to get into it. True. And I would talk the other side as well. It is not only for women, it is made tough for guys as well. Aditya said it very right. Even from the very start, boys have been taught they need not to cry, they need not to play with this, they need not to dress like this, they need not to do things like this. And I think these are the things that we can start at home by giving them the right set of examples, that education is important for everybody, getting independent is equally important for everyone. You need to work it out for yourself, and you need to respect any person as an individual, irrespective of their gender. That should actually start at home. But that unconsciously, I have seen it still happens. It happens with guys as well. They are also being typically stereotyped that, if you'll see a guy who's supporting his partner a lot, that guy would also be bashed through. So it is not only for females. The society is,
They call him Joru ka Gulam.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it's more of the bias
It
that
was
we have in the
everyone's mind,
labels.
but you said it.
Yes, Rituraj, you want to add your flavor to it?
Yeah, certainly. I think I still remember the first time when I had met Ritu. I think it was back in 2017 or 18, when through ATA only we had organized one of the events at Pfizer. And then we were discussing about the number of jury members which we had it onto the panel to judge the hackathon participation. And then I can certainly see that the way she talked about one thing where women, they feel less comfortable or less confident to put their points onto the stage, no matter whichever discussion or interaction they are going to be a part of. But I think I have seen a tremendous change within you yourself, Ritu, since last 6 to 7 years, right? Me being an agile coach, whenever I get into any kind of coaching conversation, especially with women associates or the peers around me, I certainly echo what you said, that because of the certain political equations, because of the certain parity gaps, I think this is something which I'm still seeing it. But the way I think we being men, we would like to improve upon our listening skills, right? We need to be good listeners so that we can allow you to speak the way you would like to put those points across the board. And that is the reason I think I'm happy to see a change within the today's discussion only, that me and Aditya, we have hardly spoken. We tried to be a good listeners, and then we allowed you to speak more. When it comes to the barriers thing, I think education is one. Education is a critical factor in women's empowerment and equity. Providing girls, women with access to the education helps them to develop their skills, knowledge, necessary to become self-sufficient and take an active part into the society. The other thing is nothing but equal pay. Women's economic empowerment is really essential for achieving women's equity. Equal pay for equal work can help to ensure that women have the same economic opportunities as men. The most important thing where I have seen that, the way I think ma'am mentioned, right, the policy making part of it, women's representation in politics, decision-making positions is really crucial, okay, for achieving women's equity. Government should promote such kind of policies that support and encourage women's participation in politics and leadership roles. The another one is nothing but combating gender-based violence, where I think gender-based violence is significant obstacle for achieving the women's equity. So governments, organizations, and individuals like us, we also need to work together. That's what I feel, to eliminate the gender-based violence and to provide some kind of support or resources to survivors. And when it comes to breaking those barriers, changing societal attitudes is also one more important thing, where I feel that societal attitudes, cultural norms that perpetuate gender inequality needs to change to achieve women's equity. And this can involve promoting gender equality in media, education, raising awareness about the negative impacts of gender-based discrimination. And then the most important thing, which I have seen within my family also, that when it comes to work-life balance, women are always kind-hearted, right? They are more empathetic. They have that kind of a belongingness. They always nurture love and care within the families. Also at the work environment, wherever they are participating and then giving their best. So women often face some kind of difficulties balancing work and family responsibilities, which can limit their economical opportunities and participation in the workforce. I have seen so many organizations these days who are running special drives to get back those women to work after their parental break. I hope I have said it right, Ritu, now. But policies that support work-life balance, such as parental breaks or flexible work arrangements, can really help achieve women's equity in the workplace. So be it education, be it equal pay, political representation, combating the gender-based violence, changing the societal attitudes, promoting work-life balance. I think these are the small things, but that will make such a huge difference going forward. And then I hope that these things are being highlighted and being worked upon at many places and even at the individual's level. And I hope that sky is the limit for us. And then I hope that, yes, we can do that change. And then we have already started to do all of that.
Yeah, thanks, Rituraj. I think just to summarize what we did till now, I think it's your personal in within you what you want to achieve. So you have your analysis and your work research done to get there. We live in an ecosystem, so don't get here to the bias. Hear them, but act wherever it's needed. Don't overthink and overreact. I think there is a need to treat children as children and professionals as professional, and not bring in the gender, which we unknowingly do. Probably it's the unconscious bias that works. It's not something intended, but yeah, definitely that the want of the best for anybody is what is driving it. Probably on work level, policies will have to be looked as an individual. Why not a dad have a paternity leave, or like what maternal break needed? We don't know. That is what we are talking about, equity. If it is needed, then why not? So a lot of things came together with policies, bias, and I think we had a question regarding empowerment as well. That also is touched. Moving to the next part of it, when we say, and also we touched this part of we start well, we go well. I think at later part of time, women tend to retire, or even individuals for that matter. They tend to retire, but because they get saturated, or they move from tech to non-tech, or non-tech to tech, or out of engineering or out of teaching. So basically there is a saturation level as and when progressive years come ahead. What I'm meaning is 20 to 35, 40 is okay, but after 40, people kind of like dilute. And there's also a resonating issue with that. When there is leadership, has any one of you had resistance when a woman becomes a leader? I am sure the peers will be more worried about how will she take off, and what are her changes, and whereas the people reporting will be more conscious about, okay, it is a she whom I am reporting to. So anybody who can resonate to this, who would want to share their opinions? Yes, Savita, please go ahead.
Yeah, Deepti. I have been in this role of as a senior engineering manager for about 3 years now. Okay, and I have had multiple people reporting to me, be it even from the female managers to male managers, and I have heard that some of the male managers would not like to report to a female manager. This is very normal. Okay. But we females never hesitate reporting to a male manager. Okay. We never have those questions.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
No, I mean, it's, of course, we don't have a choice, but if given a choice, we still don't pick that option where saying, I don't mind reporting to a male manager, but a male do have a problem reporting. And that again, I would put it back to the background of the male, of that person, where he or he has come from, because that person whom I know has come from a background where it's females are expected to be inside the house, do stuff in the house. Males are supposed to be going out and working. So end of the day, if you look at it, it is the background of the male that he comes from, which impacts him in his corporate or his professional environment also. And when a female becomes very, when she starts putting forth questions, commenting, putting forth her thoughts, she is found to be arrogant, aggressive, doesn't adjust. She doesn't understand our thoughts. She has her own thoughts. Probably she had a bad day with her husband today, or she has fought with her mother-in-law today. These are the comments that we get to hear when we women go back to work.
True.
Yeah, just back to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Savita. Thank you. Soumya, yes, you had raised your hand for that.
Yeah, I was going to say this again resonates with how there's a lot of bad press around women leaders. I mean, they're very much scrutinized on how successful they are in their position, while they kind of fight that very kind of internal biases and prejudices. And I'll again talk to my references around in the UK, that the moment a female leader becomes kind of quite firm with her ways, she's kind of looked at as a boss and she's bossing over, and a man would be seen as he's ambitious and he's go-getter. You know, the kind of attributes you associate with a woman who wants her way is very different to how they would perceive a man. And I have to say, this is still a very kind of unequal terrain, even for women in the West, in that a lot of deals kind of, or very important discussions happen over a pint of beer in a pub somewhere, where it's a very male environment. It's kind of very male jokes, and kind of there could be kind of referring to women in a very objective way. It happens even around me constantly. You take it with a pinch of salt and you move on. You don't experience it the other way around. You don't see women indulging in jokes about men. It hardly does. Even on the WhatsApp forwards, I see a lot of jokes which are about projecting women as if they're the more powerful one. I'm scared of my wife. Oh my God, I don't know where it happens. It's just the kind of the general colloquial dialogue is very kind of puts women in a lower light. And I feel even in a business sense, we are perhaps not most comfortable in where a lot of these conversations happen. I'm a part of a very kind of female kind of strong team I'm really proud of, and I'm trying to mentor a couple of leaders. And really sometimes we are kind of in the face of cronyism and kind of really favoring another male, and kind of the kind of rapport that two men share at the top, right? They're patting on their backs, and there's that casual comfort. And we naturally get discounted out of so many conversations, which we very much deserve to be a part of, because we are doing great in our roles, and we are bringing our A game to the job every single day. And yet we'll be overlooked when it comes to real big deals signed over, kind of, as I said, over a drink somewhere in a very casual environment. I feel women are so many times denied even access to those spaces. I'm not saying just women. What if there was a man who had to finish up at 5 o'clock due to childcare, right? He'll miss going to that pub, having that very important discussion about who will be the next leader for that big team there, or getting that next big opportunity. So really, it sometimes is about stopping those business practices, which kind of are really happening in an environment that will not let women or somebody who's not participative in that space very easily. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is how women sometimes hold themselves back from representing in aspects like interviewing. I've seen such a difference when I'm on an interview panel. I can think of so many things that it wouldn't have crossed a male colleague, in terms of, how flexible something can be, how, in fact, right from how a job description is made. And this is where women have to kind of think, no matter which level you're performing at, you don't have to be a leader. Maybe leadership is not your aspiration, but please go on and represent, your side, if you like, in conversations that matter, where diversity needs to be a part of the thought process, that we sometimes deny ourselves opportunities of participation by discounting ourselves out. So a lot of times there's big committees being brought together. I think there's a lot of hesitation that women don't put themselves forward. Again, this whole thing of ambition is not something that's very seen very positively. I don't know what happens, but they hold themselves back, and that is a very important missed opportunity. You need to be there and be the voice of that particular demography. And this I'll tell of anybody with a disability or with a neurodiversity problem. Maybe somebody's has been dyslexic. If you don't participate actively in the processes that make these decisions, then you're denying so many people of that background an opportunity to participate. So this is really a bit of soul searching for women to say, go on and be there, be present, and participate, be bold, and make yourself heard. If you don't know, no one will know of this opinion.
Yeah, thank you, Soumya. On that, I would want to go to Rituraj, because he said in the beginning, he himself is reporting to women and his coach was a woman. And just to, another thing, we're not bashing men or we're not against them, right? We are just trying to figure out how we also kind of overcome the situation with individuals as individuals and not the gender thing. So Rituraj, if you could kind of, enlighten us, how did you take it and how has your experience been?
The first thing which I would like to say is nothing but you need to bash us. Okay. I'm putting this statement right up front in front of everyone, because I don't know how many of you are watching one of the YouTube channels which is run by one gentleman. His surname is Sangwan, and the name of the YouTube channel is Sango's Life Sutras. Okay, he always gives a reference to girl child killing which used to happen back in 80s or 90s, and then we have made those sins in past, and then I think those sins cannot be washed away so easily. And then even in today's scenario, the way I think Soumya just mentioned, right, where the key decision making happens, and then we hardly give those kind of opportunities to the women leaders to be a part of that decision making process. That's the reason I certainly feel that there are some places, there are some scenarios where we literally need that kind of a bashing from all of you, and then unless and until that bashing gets done, we won't improve upon our thought processes. But then when it comes to the women leaders with whom I have worked with, uh, forget about those women leaders. Just look at Indra Nui or Sudha Murthy, or maybe the recent example, the brain behind ChatGPT, right? Meera Maruti, right? You read her story and then how inspiring it is. And then I think when I look at such kind of women leaders, the way through which they try to disrupt or to break the stereotypes, there are so many things to learn from them. And what I feel is nothing but touch wood, or since the beginning of my career, I think there were 3 to 4 times when I used to report to the women leaders previously. And then right now also I'm reporting to a women leader who is heading the entire global product development effort for the organization where I'm working with. So I think it all depends upon the kind of personas, the kind of thought process, the kind of values which they bring onto the table, be it empathy, be it integrity, be it kind-heartedness, be it doing things differently, be it recognizing the efforts which are being done by the main colleagues and appreciating their efforts. I think all these things certainly play an important role to work with such kind of Wonder Women. And that's the reason I call them as Wonder Women, right? For men, I think no matter you teach them these kind of values, I think that DNA of being a man won't give you that kind of a privilege to have that kind of a kind-heartedness or belongingness and love and care and empathy. Women are made up of all of that, and that's the reason I really want you to bash us.
Okay, I'll change that statement with not all men bashing. Okay. Since we have a couple of more questions, I'm just moving to the next, but I know the raised hands, I'll come to you for that. I think we had a couple of questions on grabbing opportunities. I think when we speak about grabbing opportunities, can we bring in remuneration and promotions and, the willing of traveling to know more? I think the number is shrinking and is fairly shrink, and they set themselves back when these kind of opportunities come to them. So if Ritu, you want to take on that?
Sure. When it comes to, so your question is around when it comes to the number of opportunities, how much women are willing to pick it up?
Yeah, the number of who asks for promotions or who negotiate for remuneration is lesser when compared to the men. Even when ladies are given an opportunity to travel around, they do not look at it in a very positive, or the number who pick that up is lesser when compared to men. So this is a question from audience. Any insights on that?
I think I would take a step back and go back to, coming in setting the right mindset. You need it, you need to grab it. Whenever you are getting the opportunity, you have to. It is not only for women, it is for men. Anybody who is getting the opportunities, people have to be proactive to show the interest. See, effectively, if you talk about business needs to run, and we would need definitely people who are more ambitious, who are more willing to pick up things and expand. Okay. As I would be more than open to give the chance, but effectively on gender, merit comes first. So definitely people have to prove themselves. One thing that we can do differently is make people aware of any unconscious bias that they have or any misconceptions that they might have on how they should be dealing it with more of a travel job or other kind of obstructions that they feel which may come with an additional responsibility. That is where we can actually talk about the awareness, help the female team members feel more comfortable that it will be, but effectively merit comes first. And that's where I would say that, things will go on merit basis.
Yeah, thank you, Ritu. Yes, Tilotoma ma'am, you had something.
Regarding this, I would like to share some case studies, which are it's an eye opener. It is very sad, actually. We were all talking about the women going for the job. That itself is a big war. Okay. Now, once you land in a very good job also, they want to find how settled is your husband. If your husband is settled and he is in a very good position, that means you are helping. It's just an extra income, like, chit fund. And that's a very, very sad story, which many of the women, some of the, especially if you are not very highly skilled job, that is totally different. But there are many jobs where you really contribute to the foundation of a child as a teacher. And most of in the teaching profession, from the primary to the higher education, you will see there are only women folk. And they get jobs also. They can switch here and there also, but they will never be, they cannot ask also, because, oh, you are an extra income holder for the family. It is not the teachers I'm saying, any XYZ occupation which is not very high white collar job I'm saying. And now coming to the white collar job, there also the situation is like that. Oh my God, 2 white collar jobs in one family. Understand how much they are earning for the family. So no one is interested at all for the payment hike for any woman. There's the point. We are considered as an extra income holder. So that stereotype and the mentality, if the management is having, then it is really a sad story. How we will break that? How it is possible to break that? If you show that I am the single person in the family and I am earning for myself, then the story is different. But if you are coming from a family where your husband is well settled, then it is a different story. So now coming to the solution, I always have problems. And many of us are having problems. But what is the solution? We should always know. And I'm sad to say, many of the women folk cannot be in a comfort zone of that institute or that working organization. Why? Because once that lady knows that she is no more at par with the industrial or the academical or institute level pay, then she is losing her confidence and she is losing that race totally. I am supposed to get X and I get Y, which is far, far less because of all this stereotype. Then what is the solution? The solution the women goes for is go for another company, another job, where you again get a hike and then you maintain. And can you imagine a woman balancing the work life would have been so happy. And she is doing a wonderful job at one institute. She would have been in a comfort zone for 20 years. But it is not possible for that woman because she has her own self-esteem, self-confidence gets question mark if I am paid less for the same work. So now she has to go jump after 3 years, 5 years, or some XYZ years. So she is having a solution at the cost of what? And same firm, you will find men with 2 decades. So that is one of the points which I would like to raise. So getting a job, being a working woman is one thing, and how the working woman is really taken into that institute or that job is another thing. Then all those threats, the stereotypes make your life XYZ, it's so miserable. Again, try to find a solution. And we are doing all of this. So now the another policy making is equity indicators. So if we make a policy that wherever institute you're going, what is the equity indicators? And the equity indicators will be showing you the promotional, how many promotions you have given. Separately do it for men and separately do it for women, because we have the maternity breaks. We have some breaks because of menopause. We may take 1 day in a month for our your menstrual problem. It's okay, no? It's okay. 1 cl, and I can at least take that for my health. And women's healthcare is very necessary, because we go through lots of changes in your menopause time, as well as your maternity break, that may be more than one. And she is also not she and that person is also talented, very talented, but then how that person will manage and all these things. So it is the time the policies are made in equity based, and I'm very happy the national education policy NEP 2020 has brought into this inclusion and the equity. You can quit after 2 years of education, you can come back with, and your 2 years they're giving diploma, you come back. So there's, and another thing is age factor. When I thought of doing postdoc, then I came to know, okay, by the age of 37, I cannot go for any postdoc. And for that, I have to go to foreign countries. There is no age, no bar. In my master's in US, I had 60-year-old, one of my classmate. Why? Because now he is having the money to study. But can you imagine me at the 60 years and I go to any engineering college and I start my BTech degree? So all these policies, NEP is coming up. So it is our responsibility as a parent, as a teacher, as an industry person, as an individual of the nation, to know those policies. I'm telling repeatedly to the viewers, we have to know about all those opportunities which India is coming up with. If we don't know, then we miss the game. And every International Women's Day, we are discussing the problems, and no more the solutions will be coming up. That's a strong message I would like to put.
Great,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And thanks for the case studies. And probably this again comes back to the stereotypes and bias. And yeah, I think most of us are not very aware of national policies, especially. So yeah, I think it again goes back to the policy awareness and, you know, looking at it in a bigger umbrella. We have another question from audience. What are women best at? Is it research, QA, automation, or coding? Aditya, would you want to take this? Because you said you've recruited many.
I would say that to differentiate on what they're good at, it is a wrong way to look at women. I would say, in general, I have found that in all the areas, irrespective of what they are doing, I found talent abundance. Okay, it's just that the mindset has been, maybe whoever is asking has to tell what the thought has been. I have not been able to find any difference. Pallavi has written a book with me. I've seen her basically code so well. Everybody around you. I don't differentiate. In fact, it is true with everybody who's scared of doing something. It may be a man or a women, it does not matter. We need to come out of that stereotype. And that change has to come. That is something that is not dependent upon whether somebody is a girl or a boy. It is basically that inert nature of basically accepting the fact that, can I do this? Do I want to do this? And it is also competitiveness. I am hearing that whether I would like to take an opportunity. Most of the time, we teach our children to be less competitive. And there are different pluses and minuses to that. Maybe girls are being taught that, okay, you can do it like this. Boys are being told, okay, you have to be competitive. From day one, when I basically was in my school, I wanted to head an organization. I don't know where the DNA came from. My dad didn't tell me. It's something that actually happened to me. I can't give that DNA or stuff to my girls. I really want them to basically scale up and think like leaders. And that can only come with the system around us. How do we give them that thought process that you are going to rule the world? And that message has to be loud and clear, that no matter what happens, no matter what people say, don't worry about it. It is something that you have to be brave enough, you have to be powerful enough to face out. I would say Dr. Tilotma, after facing so many difficulties, she is basically doing a great job, and everybody, all of us, there are umpteen reasons for us to basically quit certain things. Have we quit? And that can be true for men, that can be true for women as well. It's your inert ability to fight it out. And I think that that fighting spirit has to be indoctrinated into girls more than boys. And as a parent, I would say that as a parent, that onus lies on us. That onus lies on the generation that we are in. Maybe my parents basically gave that competitiveness to me more than my sisters. But today, as a parent, can I give that, and can I inculcate that into my girl child? I think that probably would be my thought here.
Aditya, just another point. Sorry to interrupt here. Women or the girl child do have the fighting spirit, but just that the fighting spirit is focused on some other areas.
No, I agree. So again, we need to, there are challenges, Savita. I agree, there are challenges.
I agree. I just
and there are
thought I'll bring
tons
that
of
point.
challenges. Yeah,
Right.
but that's where we are.
Yeah, true.
On the same points, what we are talking, I think there is also another thing that we would want to spill some light on. I think let's address this as an individual. Basically, there is a lot of dearth of failure or rejection, or women don't really look at adventurous part of it. So they're more we are very ingrained of what we have been discussing, that we are told, okay, this is not for you, you might not excel, this might be out of your comfort zone. So we often choose the comfort zone, and probably we need a lot of push to come out of it. Pallavi, any insights on that, if you have faced it or if you have been able to come out of it, and what's your take on that?
Before I answer your question, I just want to Rituraj used a lot of kind words for being a woman: empathetic, kind-hearted, caring. There are a lot of aspects to what women leaders bring on the table. I just wanted to say that I hope that one day we are able to look at a woman as a human as well, because there is no point in making a superhero out of someone on one day, and then not because when you do that, you are putting a lot of burden on that person, because the woman who is not kind, who is not empathetic as much as the other women are supposed to be bossy, aggressive, and so many other words which Soumya used. So let's just be human, and try to see the human side of whether you are a man or a woman. I have not met any human being as kind as Aditya, not even my own mother. I would have to say that. So,
Oh my God.
I guess all these attributes are good to have. Yes, maybe biologically, etc., etc. A lot of other things, maybe women show them more. Not sure though. I'm not that kind of a woman. But let's try to be human as well towards women as well. I also remember that when Mother's Day comes, the schools, they want to celebrate us as if we are some superhero, I also want they should celebrate Father's Day like that they are also superheroes, so humanize these days. That would be really good, good to have. And can you repeat your question, Deepti? Because I was just wanting to say that to Rituraj. I just forgot.
No
it
problem,
was-
Pallavi. It was
I would also like to comment on Pallavi's statement soon. So give me a
And
chance.
me
after
too.
that.
Go ahead, guys. I think
And
there
me too.
are hands raised, so that's okay. I'll come back to my question. So I think, yeah, Aditya, go ahead. I'll come back to you, Soumya.
Sure, Adi.
Sure. So look, being some part of a rat race, okay, I've been into that, and I decided I will not play that game. Okay, most of the women probably think like that, and it is basically one of those reasons. Basically, you don't see leaders on the top, more women leaders. Okay, let me tell you that, because you guys are smarter as well. There is no point basically going to the top and fighting it out and basically going nowhere. That's my personal belief too. Why do we have to basically go through all the route? But I personally feel that that competitiveness has to be there. That fighting spirit has to be inculcated. Go out and fight. Why do we basically not let girls basically decide, okay, this is where I want to win the race? And somehow basically I've seen that is the only thing missing in the women around me. in the professional world around me, in my family, I really want that if there is an argument, basically, how do you always basically they just stick the side out and say, okay, go fight. Maybe you win, right? I've most of the time I've seen women basically take a stage where they don't want to participate any further. On the contrary, I really want that people should basically take it on the angle that, okay, no, come what may, I want to win this argument. And this is where I think would basically be the reason why probably the so-called weaker sex would become more stronger. I don't want to quote that, but I think maybe that is the only reason lacking. If I want to basically see why the rat race figure, or basically where most of the people don't want to get into that. And there are people like me as well who don't want to participate there. So there can be
Again,
all.
on that one, I would just like to tell you that we have XX. There's a lot of genes there. You guys just have XY. Y is empty. So
Yes.
we are not the weaker sex.
No, no,
Just not
I
giving
don't
up the
believe that.
argument. Just not giving up the argument. I just wanted
No,
you
I
to
really,
know that.
and you probably, it's a general
नहीं, आप
line
ठीक
that I
कह रहे
use.
हो.
I don't
I
believe that.
understand. I
Yeah.
understand. I think because the words which Soumya used, if we become the argumentative ones, there are a lot of bad words which starts getting used for us. You know,
And that is also true for any male boss who would basically be bossing around. It's not, it's something that you may experience either way. Okay. If somebody is basic, and most of the people who have risen to the top, I've seen they are all similar.
By the way, I have a daughter and a son, and my daughter is very like younger to my son, but I'm worried for my son. So I teach my daughter to take care of him. She's very competitive, aggressive, and I fear that every day we have to pick her up out from a street fight so that she doesn't harm anyone.
But you
I
are
think
stopping her competitiveness,
I
Pallavi.
am no, I am not going to. You think I'm going to do that? Jao lado, lad maro. Like,
yes,
the children have to be brought up in a manner that they should be felt free. But this is not Children's Day. This is International Women's Day we are going to talk about. So coming back to the question, Deepti, you wanted to ask me something, if you can, please.
Yeah,
आप mute
just
पे हैं.
just to get the audience also involved. Abhay wants to say something. Abhay, can you please unmute?
Yeah, hi all. First of all, very happy Women's Day to all. I have posted one image also that was all thoughts written by me in that image. So first of all, by listening this conversation, also I always ask whenever I go in conferences to Aditya, always like we are Agile Testing Alliance, we talk about Agile, we talk about QS thing. So as a leader or as a human being in our company, in our family, are we really doing that? People are talking about agile things. Are we really doing that in the projects? Same way we are talking about equity. So I'll give some examples. Like I live alone in a 2 BHK flat. Whomsoever comes in my flat, almost Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people come, have party and these all things. And they say you have managed your home very well and you cook very well. Your wife will be very happy. So I ask a simple question. Is that a gender specific role? Is that a gender specific role? There is only some things which women are blessed with to produce a baby. That is the superpower they have. Rest everything, they should be equally treated. It is not women's responsibility to run the home. It's not women's responsibility to make you the breakfast or coffee or something. Same way, if we are talking about the equity, we should start from home. We should start from our surroundings. Like if some girl is there who want to pursue the higher study or something, she does not want to get married as the age of 26, 28. So are we as a human, are we really going to our relatives and asking, no, she is my cousin, she want to pursue something. Let them pursue, let them be, and it's not important that a woman go abroad on like a wife on a dependent visa. Why not a man can go on a dependent visa, right? So we should talk about equity there, that in our families, in our relatives, if we see something, some parents, our uncles or someone is doing like, no, ab iski age ho gayi hai, shaadi kara do, ye kara do. We should fight over there. It starts from there, not in company. If we start from there, then it will probably make a change everywhere. Like I have an example of Sushma Swaraj. Till the time, like I am 30 years old, I have seen the best foreign ministers she was. None of the foreign ministers like her. So we should start the equity thing from our home at every place, in cooking, in managing the house, buying the grocery, everything, going somewhere. If boy is going somewhere, we say that लड़का है ठीक है अकेले चला जाएगा, लड़की है तो इसको देखना पड़ेगा. No, mentally make them that much strong. ठीक है लड़की भी जाएगी, कोई कुछ बोलेगा तो पहले मुंह तोड़ के आएगी. That is the thing. If we start doing that, then only we can talk about equity, right? So that's my thought.
True, Abhay. Yeah, we can totally resonate with that. Yeah, we ourselves have to be change agents, and it all starts from home. Yeah, from your children, from your wife, and we are very happy to for you to have absorbed it like this. And thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yes, Swapna, you want to add something? Thanks, Abhay, for coming on mic. And I will share that what you have shared. I'll share it at the end of the panel discussion.
No, one more thing I wanted to add. I'll just take 30 minutes. It's like why we are talking about nowadays for equity, because I see somewhere women's also have hesitation to do the things. Yesterday, one of my cousin sister was there. I said that Bhaiya is going to Canada. Why don't you learn to drive? She said, नहीं 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 मुझे डर लगता है. Then whole family was saying, नहीं उसको मत करने दो, उसको डर लगता है. I said, no, you should try. At least give a try. एक दिन नहीं होगा, 2 दिन नहीं होगा, कार लड़ जाएगी, जीरो डेप्थ इंश्योरेंस है, सही करा लेंगे. इट्स ओके. तेरा मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस है, तुझे एडमिट कर देंगे कुछ होगा तो. डरना क्यों? Where till the time women's itself not empowering themselves, no one can empower them. Empower की जरूरत ही नहीं है. They are stronger than us. They have period pains, they have this baby pains, these all things. If they can do that, they can do anything. So it is like उनके अंदर खुद हेजिटेशन है कि हमें ये नहीं करना चाहिए, हम ये नहीं कर सकते, हम मंदिर नहीं जा सकते, इस चीज में हम किचन में नहीं जा सकते. उन चीजों के लिए जब तक वो खुद नहीं लड़ेंगे तब तक इक्विटी नहीं आएगी. No one can empower someone. It is the person who can empower themselves, fight with the society, fight with the family, then only equity will come. That's it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I will have to come out of self-doubt and have the courage to try something and then, conclude on that. Yes, Swapna, go ahead. You want to add something? Swapna, can you unmute yourself? Okay. We thought 100 minutes, 120 minutes would be too much of a time for a panel discussion. I'm sure we are running short. Swapna, if you come back, let us know. I will still take you in. But yeah, there is a lot of things that we can discuss on. There are a lot of changes that we can bring upon. But quickly, just to end this with quickly running with the rapid fire part of it, why not panel discussions be a little more fun? You're not audible, Swapna. You're not. Are you not able to unmute yourself? Your mic seems unmuted, but we can't hear you. We would love to hear you on chat. Please type it out. I will help you in voicing it out if there's a technical glitch. Moving ahead with our rapid fire, due to dearth of time, panel members, I would really need you to be quick. Let's bring that interactive, fire within us and make this quick. This is a same question that I'm going to turn around the tables. One women leader who is inspiring you, who you think can be an inspiration for the whole generation, and why? Just one name, one sentence. Can we start with Aditya?
I would say Murthy, ma'am. She has been one of the pioneers who has written so many books, and I've always been inspired by her.
Sudha Murthy, okay.
Yeah, Sudha Murthy.
Yeah, true. For the humble background that she comes from and the kind of generosity that she has, great looking, yes. Yes, Pallavi.
I would like to name from our testing industry, Marit. I don't know. I feel she lives in a different planet. She does so much. I am amazed to see her, the kind of work she does, and she really uplifts others. Being a part of her with other organizers in the Selenium conference, which will just be happening in Chicago, she really made ensure that everybody was on track to ensure that we were very inclusive in the conference. And she has very strong thoughts about it, and she never shies away from voicing her opinion. She is one person, she is so unabashedly herself, and it's really inspirational to just see her in her spirits. So yeah, I would like to
So true.
name her.
Thank you. Yes, Ritu, any?
Yeah, I'll just name my previous boss, Anu, who simply taught me, have the grit, boss is a boss, no gender, do it. Anybody can do it.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, Savita?
Sudhamurthy, Deepti, though she's bold, she's very humble.
True. So true. Yes, Tilotama ma'am.
Sudhamurthy, wise and otherwise, was an eye-opener for me when I came to know what is empowerment, when that village woman would make the decision for her farm, and one lady who was highly qualified was not doing anything, and she would have done a lot to the economy of the country.
True, true. Thank you. Yes, Soumya?
I would say Indira Nooyi, because she articulated some really uncomfortable things for women in career in general. And the way she made ambition look, less, kind of clouded under shame for women. It's almost, she made us feel less shameful for being ambitious. Why should women hold themselves back? Kind of thing. I really like her boldness, and every message she says, it's as if it's speaking to me. So no, I really, really admire Indira Nooyi.
Cool, yeah. Yes, Rituraj?
Yeah, so since you have already taken most of the names, I would like to take another name, which is Sindhutai Sapkar. Sindhutai Sapkar was like one of the other role models in my life, and then I did get a chance to meet her twice. She literally devoted herself to orphans, and she was fondly called as Mai, which means mother. She nurtured over 1,500 orphan children, and through them she had a grand family of 382 sons-in-law and 49 daughters-in-law. And she has been honored with more than 700 awards for her work. She used to award money to buy land to make a home for orphan children. This is what I'm reading from the Wikipedia page, by the way. But then I did get a chance to meet her twice. I think she got passed away last year only, but a wonderful woman being. And then there were so many things to learn from her. Since I was a part of Seva Sahyog NGO collaboration, which used to happen when I was back there in India. So I was contributing as a volunteer with that NGO group. And then through that group, I got a chance to meet her, a wonderful woman being. And then I think all of you are like role models, and you deserve a big round of applause for being that superwoman, because the way Abhay mentioned, the amount of labor pain which you go through, there is no other thing which we can compare it to that. And that's the only thing which I feel that you should be called as Wonder Woman or superheroes, right? So that's what I can say. Yeah.
Yeah. Considering Rituraj said about superheroes, if there is any animation character or cartoon character or a mythological character, or basically what I'm looking at is really fun, like some animation characters that you would want to become for being a change agent, what would that be? Ritu, I'll start with you because you have come from a gaming world. Maybe you have more characters, and the rest of them can.
Honestly, I'm not good with this. As soon as you said the question, I started thinking around it. Let me take a pause.
Okay, anybody who already have an answer? It can be a cartoon character as well, or something that, some character which you would have read, or, something that you would want to imitate.
Deepti, I want to be myself. I don't want to imitate anybody.
Okay, we will try and make an animation over you sometime.
Sure.
Anybody else?
I think Hindu mythology has a number of characters. I mean, you'll say Durga, you'll say so many aspects. I mean, at some point, the heart of it all is around the idea of women being the power of knowledge and money, and kind of the kind of strength kind of element. So I have to say we are kind of a strange, kind of contradictory society. On one hand, we'll actually put women on pedestal and say, you're goddess, you're that, like Pallavi says, give those big labels. And really, the ground reality, it doesn't really match up. So yeah, I think that's why we are all struggling to come up with a name, because I could say, a name like Draupadi or something like that, who actually had the gumption to get a big kind of scale of, a mission. She had the aggression in her to make something happen that was unfair and incorrect and discriminatory to her, and brought down her position of grace. And her determination is so inspirational. But again, at the same time, it could be connotated with so many other aspects of Draupadi's character. So it's a very contradictory background we have in India. But I keep thinking to myself, we are still great kind of a culture which celebrates women in a very positive way as well. So it's both sides, I guess, in a way for me.
Cool, yeah. Rituraj, any thoughts? Anything in mind?
No, I think there are so many things, there are so many characters which we can think of, but nothing like a single character as such. I used to watch one cartoon. The name of the cartoon was like Power Packed Girls or
Powerpuff Girls. Yeah.
Power Pack Girls, right? So I still remember like there were 4 to 5 girls, and then they used to have some kind of unique powers which they used to make use of to help the society. So I think that is the one thing maybe I can call it out.
Okay, yeah.
Hello. Yeah, just one liner. I think it's going to end. Maybe that is the last line. In all the serials and the movies, we see the women bitching the women. And in Women's International Day, all are very friendly. So that's a very, what to say. So I am a part of like wherever there's a women networking globally, in your women's forum, women in engineering and all those things. I really am amazed all those volunteers who are making such type of professional bodies from women only and giving chances to each other. Hats off to those groups who help the women in women networking. That's what my message, a positive message, and stop being. So that's what we are saying. The women, when she is at a pedestal, is she helping her women folks? That's a very big question, correct? So that time she should not be a hindrance to other women. So we should make a point that way also. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's equity among everybody, creating opportunities from one to another one. Yeah, correctly told.
When we are at a shortfall, then we had to join the hands to make our point audible to the audience also. So that time I cannot do alone. So why not all the girls or all the women folk form a team, and then we can obviously come across and we can fight these all those problems what we face.
True. Okay, this is single. I think we'll end with this. This is single questions for each one of you to personalize it for all the experiences that you have given us today. I'll start with Rituraj. Blogging or authoring?
Of course, authoring, because now I have tested that, and then in fact, my wife is promoting me to write another book, and then she is always encouraging me to try out new things. It's much beyond authoring or blogging, and that's the reason I think she keeps on motivating me to go for new things. And then she herself is a professional yoga teacher. She is into baking. She is learning German these days because she wants to get relocated from India to Germany. She's utilizing her own time back in India. And that's the reason I think I feel so fortunate to have a wife like her.
Nice, thank you. Savita, is it a manager or an individual contributor that empowers you more?
Manager.
Cool, thank you. Soumya, if you want to bring a change, would you want to bring it as a parent or as a professional?
Gosh, what a difficult question. To me, a professional is a better position for me. As a parent, I think my emotions come in big time. So not that I'll stop the change from coming into my home. I very much want it to be reflected in my home. But I think as a professional, I'm likely to scale up that change. Thank you.
Cool. Tilotama ma'am, what do you find is more effective, academics or software industry, for the change that we want to drive?
Very, very good question. What a question. What are you trying to say? Equity. So equity, I want to be a true professional, correct? And my area is software. So wherever I am doing as an industry or a academician, both I would like to contribute. But the satisfaction is there as a teacher.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
what makes you more enabled and where. Cool. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, but initial years, you should be an industry person so that you have a lot of case studies and it's not the theory from the book which you are telling to your students. And that's how I really feel empowered, because I was from industry 8 years and then I moved to academics. Both are necessary. Thank you.
Ritu, gaming or coding?
I would say coding.
Cool. Pallavi, a trainer or a community person?
Trainer or a community person? None of them. Author.
Okay, cool. Going to Aditya, I'll give him a little more this thing. Books or TED Talks? Which would you want to pursue? Not hearing, pursue.
No, I would like to go for books. See, it may sound a little different, but I really want to go for books.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adi.
Yeah, I hope I covered everybody. And thank you so much for a very enriching, thoughts that came over from very varied experiences, very varied professionals, and not less. I have to thank the audience. I think there was a separate discussion that was happening on the chat by itself. They kept resonating with us. They kept adding on to us. Thank you all. So you got so involved, and we collected questions across the forms as well. So we somehow managed to cover all the questions in one or the other way. Heartfelt thanks to each and everybody for, giving your best, giving your time this evening and trusting on us with the intent that we wanted to do this. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have learned a lot. I have shared a lot, and absolutely resonated a lot with all of you. I hope the screen is being seen.
Not yet.
No.
But while the screen is being shared, I would like to thank Deepti for driving this entire panel discussion. You were amazing, by the way. Real big thanks and a big applause to the way that you made this event. In fact, the whole idea, all of you should appreciate that it came from Deepti, and she has been the driving force for making this event possible. A big round of applause for Deepti. You. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Awesome,
so
Deepti.
much.
Thank you, Deepti, for enabling, giving us this opportunity.
Thanks, Deepti.
Thank you. And behind the screens, I think each of you were very cooperative with me when I came out and reached out. Thank you for absorbing the intent and, supporting all the time. So here is thank you. And I would just also want to share what Abhay shared with us. I think he has just voiced out his thoughts on this. Thanks, Abhay. If you want to come in and read it out by yourself, you're most welcome. Okay, I'll just do
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like
nice.
I'm a writer as well. Yourcode.in, I write my thoughts. So I have written some 3-4 years back. So it is like, women is not just a word or just a female character. A woman is the best all-rounder created by the nature who plays many and most important roles in our life as a mother, sister, wife, friend, and a daughter. These all roles are not just sweet, but caring, good management, responsible, creator, and many more. My wholehearted salute to all the ladies in this universe. Happy Women's Day.
Thank you, Abhayji.
Thank you, Abhay, for sharing it us. And let's leave the forum with this amazing thought of like, we are the change agents. So let's drive it from within homes. And we're sure it might take time, but we'll definitely see the tomorrow that we want to see.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
so
It was
much.
really
It was
wonderful.
brilliant.
to
Thank
have you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take
Bye bye.
care. Bye.